of the Tea Party. And in a way, that's true. I mean, all of us are, though. And it's a fight for the heart and soul of any movement. They're going to try to co-opt any movement. And they're going to try to provocateur any movement. And it's going to be a crazy time. There's going to be a lot of games, a lot of deception. But deception and propaganda stops working when people have empty bellies.
Right, right. Well, I know you got a bunch of other people on the line. I'll get out of your hair. If there's ever anything I can do for you guys, you just track me down at truthradio.com, truthradionet.com. That's where I've been doing my work. Educate people on aspartame, trying to give them the reality of what's going on in the world. And you're the inspiration, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you, my friend, and I appreciate your call. I would just say this. That the system always tries to get anybody who starts doing a show to infight and to make it about who's good, who's bad, and endless little internal conspiracy theories. Cass Sunstein actually talks about that. How to get people that aren't buying into the false reality of the New World Order, fighting with each other, kind of chasing our tails. But that you'll never see an operative talking about aspartame or talking about sodium fluoride or talking about GMO or talking about Fukushima and warning people or talking about all this stuff. The operatives just endlessly will get everybody to fight with each other and criticize other groups, and I'm the only one that has the answers, and this person's a this or this person's a that, or they're a Vatican assassin, or they work for Israel, or they're a Reptoid, or they're a Pop-Tart, or whatever. You can tell a tree by its fruits, and that's the type of radio shows, the type of issues. That's where you can really help people. I mean, aspartame is making people go blind. It's causing diabetes to go off the chart. All these new cancers and things from the fluoride. I mean, these are things we can prove. The mercury in the shots, all of that. These are things where we can help people. And that's why when people join in on the infighting and the, kind of like it's different football teams in the conspiracy world or whatever, which is just a look into reality, you're distracting. If you're not an operative, you're just weak-minded, some of you out there, you're distracting from time and issues and real stuff that can really help people. Like trying to stop new wars, trying to stop new banker bailouts, trying to stop children being drugged. I mean, CPS taking kids, doing medical experiments on them. I mean, there's some hardcore evil going on. And I want to warn people for their souls, if you don't believe in the soul, just for humanity, when you fight against truth tellers, you are really throwing your lot in with some very, very wicked systems and people. And it's just that simple. Who's up next here? Sean in Arizona, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, my Texas friend. I'm a little bit nervous. I've been trying to prepare my notes with you. I've been wanting to say some critical things here. Would you allow me the floor for 5 minutes and rest your voice? And may I ask you another favor? I've been calling in to you. This is my 6th time in 2 years. Will you allow me today to say my last name? Because if you can go on the firing lines and risk your life and your family, your fame, then I think I can say my last name.
Yeah, Sean, you know why talk radio doesn't want people to say their last name, right?
No, you tell me.
Because people call in and say they're somebody who they aren't, and then basically libel or slander that person. And that's
no, I got it. Time is short. I got it. I'm going to say my name. I'm Sean O'Reilly. I've been living as a sovereign like Mr. Adask for 26 years. I worked for Reagan before I was as formed as I am now. And I want to point out a couple quick things to your folks. First of all, I've lived a Louis L'Amour life, and I call from Arizona, but I'm a Wyomingite. I've spent most of my life in Montana and Wyoming. I learned about the Constitution and the common law from my friend Red Beckman and your friend as well. I've got Lyme disease, and I came down to Arizona for 6 weeks of R&R 5 years ago, and the Lyme disease hit me in the butt, so to speak, and I've been living off my savings for 5 years. If my savings hadn't been 100% in gold and silver, I'd be on the streets now. I live in my friend's RV on their ranch, and in the summer it gets pretty hot down here. I have no air conditioning, but we're tough. in Montana and Wyoming. And I can't sleep in that the RV till midnight sometimes because it's so hot in the summer. So I wet down a sheet like the pioneers did, and I lay out on a picnic table, a bench, and when it gets about midnight, I crawl back into the RV. Now, I don't know what's the matter with our countrymen. You're a Texan, and I've lived the Louis L'Amour life, and sometime I'd like to talk to you if you'd give a common person an hour, because everything that I've done, I've run into the Rockefellers and Lawrence's Rockefeller's daughter. 20 years ago, I had a fight about Cuban Castro, about Fidel Castro, because she told me that she used to go down and visit him. Well, she must have went down and visited him with David Rockefeller's grandchild. You had Adask on here earlier. He's just stellar. He gets it. You get it. A couple things. Iserbyt. I'm the guy that they gave this document that I took over to the Bush boys, which were the four of them, I believe, at the Ponch, a train hotel, on the morning of the Thursday morning of the last week of the convention, and it was the history on George Herbert Walker Bush. And they told me not to look at it. And I took it across Jefferson Avenue from the 67th floor of the Detroit Plaza Hotel in the Rensen over to the Ponch, and every Detroiter that's listening knows about that. And I looked at it, and I looked at the history of George Walker's history in his life. And 8 years later in Cody, Wyoming, when I was reading Sutton's book, I turned the page, and Sutton had a list of what Herbert Walker had done in his life, including that time with the Zappa oil, and it was the exact same stuff I had read from this document. I've been very fortunate, and your viewers don't understand. And I've called in several times and say, my friend, you are just dead spot on. My French grandmother came to this country with nothing at Ellis Island. And my grandmother, Mahoney, was born in Corktown to Detroit, where the Irish poor were, not too far from Tiger Stadium. And I could almost cry with this information. People don't realize your information. The 1908 deal about custody with the state against families, that happened to our family, and I could never figure it out until your broadcast in the last 2 years, and you've mentioned it up several times. The Catholic Church, my great-grandmother's husband died, so they were very poor in Detroit, and the Catholic Church got involved, I believe, with the state, and they were going to take the 3 kids away from my great-grandmother. And those were the days 100 years ago where you didn't have information running to and fro, and she relocated herself all the time, every 6 months, to keep those kids. And that was a result, I'm positive, of this legislation that you said were passed in 1908, because that's when it happened to my family, 1900 and 1910. You're just a godsend, my friend. I could go on and on with. Let me tell you one other thing here, and then I'll be quiet. I was working on a motion picture in Aspen in 2001. I was sitting in a hot tub 4 weeks after we had taken Kabul. And I was sitting in a hot tub of a resort because I'd worked my butt off. You know what production hours are, 16 hours, 18 hours a day. And there was a stewardess and a pilot there who had flown in on a shuttle flight from Denver, and they take the people back in the morning. This is just unbelievable. And my whole life in the West has been a testament to these things. And he said, I got a call from my old friend I went to college with. He's in Kabul. This was 4 weeks after the fall of Kabul in 01. And he said, who do you think is at? He named the famous hotel in Kabul where he was at. Who do you think's on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th floor? And this pilot was telling us, he said, I said Ashley Bancroft, who was that hot little number at MSNBC at the time. He said, oh, yeah, she's here too, but Halliburton, Dick Cheney, that phony that we've known in Wyoming all these years about, his people were there. It was all about the pipeline. Wake up. Give to this program. Give to Alex Jones. Forgo your whiskey and your cigarettes. If I can forgo a little bit of money.
Hold on. Now, listen, you're very nice, sir. But if you're living in an RV with no air conditioning and sleeping outside, now you probably actually be healthier than most people living in air conditioning. The point is, you're great, and God bless you, and it's great to hear from you, Sean. But listen, I do not want people to donate who are not in great means. And of course, it's always folks who don't have much who want to give. The globalists pull their money, or more often than not, take our money and then get it through corporate welfare and then use it against us. This is just about, you've seen the growth of our operation. You've seen the changes we've made. And these money bombs just create pure capital with these worthless Federal Reserve notes that are becoming more worthless every day to put it into more crew. And then I can really, because I don't want to hire people and then have things go even more south and have to lay them off in 6 months. This allows us for like a year to be able to hire 4 or 5 more people, get some equipment we need. The way it's going to be able to hire like 3. They get some of the equipment, some other stuff. But InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com or 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. Let's go ahead and go to Eric in Oregon. But listen here, Sean, I don't want you giving to the money bomb, okay? All right, because when people of no means or little means start giving, because you have means to call in, you have means to speak out, that's the most powerful thing in the world. But I mean, financially, then I don't want to have to, when I buy the crew lunch or when I, do something with my wife or whatever, like start, I'm not like one of these preachers saying, widows might give me all your money and God's going to bless you. Okay. This is a temporal thing where, just on the surface, we're fighting tyranny. And if people believe in it, they can donate to it. And the idea of voting with your dollars, the idea of supporting alternative media, period. That is beautiful. That's strong. And the howls, I wasn't even going to do a money bomb this year. I just wasn't going to expand. But things are shutting down so fast, we kind of need it. If we want to continue at the level and perhaps grow. But then I see the howls of people, you better not have a money bomb. And that's because they've put this meme in, this psychological trigger, that little people aren't supposed to get together and build things and do things. That it's somehow bad to even sell a book or a DVD. But the government, it's moral to take your money at gunpoint and use it against you. This is the type of bizarreness that we've got going on. Not just this article, but guys, Will Jones was showing me where he was confirming that they're making people thumb scan to rent video games or buy video games in Miami. And I want to give this to Watson because this is interesting news. But I guess Will's here. I'll talk to him during a break. Something about these marathon broadcasts, only breaks are when I play a clip or something. I want to take a few more calls. But then out of all these reports we've got, we just played the mega rant. But I think I want to play brain-eating vaccines, because that's important. People understand how they can chemically, biologically put this stuff in us and control us. I don't know, we have the Libya genocide, but that's just a short clip of a little kid. Oh, there's so many of these. TSA invades Tennessee. Kind of give folks an idea of what we've been doing here. Let's get ready with the brain-eating vaccines in a minute, okay? Let's go ahead and go to Eric in Oregon. Eric, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Alex. Thanks for all you're doing. I've called